Here,
Gimmighoul, give me status, let me feel alive. New Contramerc City's humming, pulling on the vibe. Dope vibes floating in the air tonight. Podcast running till the morning light. Memories on loop, they replay and bend.
99.9 Gimmighoul Radio, hottest FM radio in New Contramerc City.
Welcome to 99.9 Gimmighoul Radio. It's me, your host, Makeyourself 28. I'm in the studio tonight with my main man, Unseelie King, to the right of me. What's up, Unseelie? How are you today?
Pretty good. Been a long day, but we're finally actually sitting down to record.
Well, we finally got in the studio. Yeah, it's been a week. Let me just tell y'all. I had my day-old coffee. I have a pen that doesn't work. And I have Unseelie with me. And we're here to talk about all good things within our Ghouligan life here in New Contramerc City. First of all, just want to say thank you to everyone watching and listening. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that thumbs up for the like. I know you have a lot of content creators out there right now telling you to do the exact same thing. It really does help out. Yeah, we want to keep this train rolling. We got all the producers in the studio tonight. We might have a couple of them pop in and out. But otherwise, again, we appreciate y'all being here. We want to go ahead and get the ball rolling. We're not going to spend too much time on my intro. And what's on the plate tonight, Unseelie? Let us have it.
So, we actually hit the streets of New Contramerc. We polled the city, asked what they wanted us to talk about today, because it came up in a chat with one of our Discord users. He goes by, I think his Discord handle is Christian. Me and him were having an argument on, what makes a legendary Pokemon a legendary Pokemon? Like, what actually, I guess, qualifications for a legendary? And then the other one was why we don't like clickbait titles. I think we're going to touch on the clickbait titles a little bit later on today. It's not going to be a full segment, just our stance on it. As YouTubers, we kind of would like to explain what a clickbait title is and why we necessarily don't like them. So the one that won, though, via the poll was what makes a legendary Pokemon a legendary?
Like Unseelie said, we talked with a lot of our citizens, a lot of our Ghouligans here in the city about, what do you find interesting and what do you guys feel about mythical Pokemon versus legendary Pokemon? And what does that mean to you? First of all, I'm asking you guys that right now in the radio waves, sound off below. I want to know your thoughts on mythicals and legendaries before we get into it, because I think there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of question marks. A lot of people err on the side of, well, some mythics should be legendaries. I've even heard some legendaries should be mythics. A lot of ways, Game Freak doesn't really make this black and white. I think they like to have a little bit of mystique behind their legendary Pokemon or their mythic Pokemon for a good reason. We're going to talk about that right now. First of all, let me ask you, Unseelie. We all know, as fans of the Pokemon community, as Pokemon trainers and media group in the world of Pokemon, we have all heard of the mon called Lugia or Ho-Oh. Those are legendary Pokemon. Very few have seen these Pokemon in the wild, but we know how grand they are. We've heard the stories about how they sometimes can calm beasts of natural disasters. And other times we have heard, salvation stories, say from Ho-Oh to save lives of Pokemon. These Pokemon are legends because they have a legend with them. And we've heard these stories be passed down from decade to decade, year after year. And we understand what these Pokemon are. And as radio hosts, we have inside knowledge on a lot of different Pokemon. out in the world that you may not have even heard of, citizens and Ghouligans. But, these types of Pokemon is what we call mythic, or a myth of a Pokemon. Like, we've all heard there's such a thing called a Mew Pokemon. I think recently, somewhat confirmed by our scientists in the world, the mythic Pokemon of Mew. I still think there are citizens out there, and I think there are people who still don't believe Mew is a true Pokemon. And I think that qualifies it and a lot of the rest of the people and the rest of the trainers around the world as, they may not believe in a Mew Pokemon. And, truly, I do believe in Mew. I think it's a real Pokemon that exists. But some say it's still a myth, and there are plenty of examples. I've heard of a story of a Pokemon in the Alola region. I can't think of its name. It's a hedgehog-like Pokemon.
I think you're thinking of Shaman.
Shaman, that's right. Shaman, I've only heard twice in my life living on this Poke world. I've read it in a book, actually, and then I've heard it from another fellow researcher in the land of Unova. And we had a good discussion about this Pokemon and how rare it is to be seen. So much so that it is considered in Pokemon mythology as a mythic. So what I'm getting at is that these Pokemon that we know and that we love of legendaries, and then there's other Pokemon that we know and love as well, but maybe we don't know their existence. And I think that's where legends and mythics really kind of comes to terms. There are some Pokemon we just don't truly know a ton of. Either A, we don't know if it truly exists, or B, we don't have enough research and data points behind it to know. I've heard of another organization called Project Mew, for example, going back to my Mew point, that dedicates their lives to the discovery and the research of Mew, which I find very fascinating. Honestly, I just want to hear your thoughts on legendaries versus mythics. What does that mean to you? And what does that mean for us as Pokemon trainers in this world today?
So I think the biggest distinction that I want to stress is originally it was thought that Ultra Beast and Paradox Pokemon fell under the legendary, sub-legendary, and mythical banner. They don't. They are their own category of Pokemon. So Paradox and Ultra Beast are two separate categories under a quote-unquote special category of Pokemon. The thing that I will want to say is I think there's a very common misconception with legendaries that there is only one of them. And I think we've already had that proven by either multiple sightings or different adventures or, different stories throughout, the Poke world that's not true, that there are multiples of these Pokemon. I think where it gets a little weirder is the mythical ones. Because the mythical ones are usually only found by events or a special, times within Pokeyears. The only one that we, I think, know for sure, or the only couple that we know for sure that have multiples of them, are Meltan, Deoxys, and I'm pretty sure Shaman and Genesect we've seen multiples of as well. Hey, like I said, it gets weird because, like I said, the common misconception is that there's only one of these Pokemon. In the region of Aldea, the quote-unquote legendary Pokemon of that region was Koraidon and Miraidon. Well, we've already figured out that there is multiples of those. We know that. We've caught multiples of them.
Let me stop you right there real fast. Is it confirmed those legend, and they are truly legend, we've heard of their stories even all the way here in Trattoria, are these Paradox Pokemon I keep hearing about? I think that's become really popular in all the media nowadays is Paradox Pokemon. What a wild species of Pokemon. I think we probably need to have a segment on that at some point.
100%.
Koraidon and Miraidon are truly legendary, but we know they exist. Now, could you have classified these Pokemon as mythics if no one ever knew about them? Let's say nobody delve into what they call AZ or Area Zero in Paldea. If nobody even knew their existence and we only heard whispers, would you consider those mythics or legendary still?
So it gets very confusing because it's very hard to understand what actually classifies a Pokemon as legendary or mythic, because you have Pokemon that are classified as legendary where there's seemingly only one of each. By that, what I mean by that is, if you believe the myth around Ho-Oh where it revived Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, well then that would lend you to believe that there is only one of each of those beasts. It's just the way that story is told, it's how it works. Problem there is that we've seen multiples of these Pokemon. Another one is Lugia. Everybody has assumed that Lugia, there is only one. But again, we've seen multiples of those Pokemon. I think the category legendary just specifies that there is a very specific legend that has existed for hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of years associated with these Pokemon.
So what you're saying is legendary may not always, and you mentioned this, but it may not always mean a one-off Pokemon. Like there's not just, say for example, one Lugia or one Entei out in the world. That's just crazy to me. I don't know. It's hard to believe that all this time we have these stories passed down to us, and researchers have dived into the numbers and have crunched the data on a lot of these Pokemon, and there's still so much data out there that we don't know of. And the possibility of there being multiple legendary Pokemon is just crazy to me. But then again, this Pokemon world, it's crazy in itself. Like we know of Dialga and Palkia and what they're capable of, and maybe they have a relation with when it comes to space and time and where we are presently in this Pokemon world, that maybe we can only see what's in front of us and behind us. We don't have the ability as humans on this earth to view everything that, say for example, we know of as like an Arceus, which, listen, I understand not everybody believes in Arceus. That is a prime example of a mythical type Pokemon, because there are believers, and I think those believers would actually consider him to be a legend, but there are non-believers who consider him to just be a myth, and I find that very fascinating.
So I think that's the difference between mythicals and legendaries. So mythicals, where legendaries have like quantifiable, researched and recorded legends about them, mythicals kind of are different. They are the rumors of Pokemon. They are the I'll take Darkrai. Darkrai is a mythical Pokemon, but it is literally the counterpart to a legendary Pokemon known as Cresselia.
Do you think Darkrai exists?
Oh, I do. I have one.
I'm not going anywhere near you down the basement ever again.
It is widely believed. So, like, if you look at the, at least a lot of the earlier discovered mythicals, they all embody something. So, like, Celebi, he or she embodies time, forward, backward, the movement of time. Jirachi, it embodies the aspect of wishes. Darkrai, embodies nightmares. Victini embodies victory, success.
Oh, Victini. You know what? Victini's such an interesting mythical Pokemon to me. Do I think it exists? No, not really. But at the same time, the fact that it can exist is really cool to me, because of the stories I've heard. It's extremely lucky, right? Am I right in saying
Yes.
that? Like,
it's
good fortune to anyone who sees it or finds
Yep.
it?
It's supposed to bring you success. We did start to veer away, I guess, from that like mentality of, you know, the mythicals embody something. Because I mean, if you look at Diancie, it is I think the word they use is a mutated carbink, and it became a Diancie.
Well, you could almost say it embodies. Is there anything special around its gemstones that it wears as a dress?
So there has been some, I guess, thoughts, theories, rumors that Diancie has something to do with terrestrial, like the terrestrial state. The crystals on its body very much resemble the crystals that you find in Area Zero. They resemble like terrestrial shards, terrestrial stones. So a lot of people think that there's a connection between the Terra phenomenon and like the way Diancie came about.
That's just so interesting. But we don't have enough data points to kind of lead us to that confirmation, right? That is just something they are looking at, from what I understand, and trying to connect the dots between. And there have been somewhat, I'm gonna say, red string theories connecting the region of Chaldea's history with the Kalos history. Am I correct in saying that? Including maybe even some of their potential mythicals and legendaries.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Let me ask you as well, as far as mythical Pokemon, what's the possibility of them being multiple mythical Pokemon? I think it's pretty high, right? If you're gonna have multiple legendaries in the world, why not have multiple mythics in the world? Am I right or wrong saying that?
So we have seen evidence that Genesect is a very unique mythical Pokemon because it is a mythical Pokemon that was created. It is an ancient Pokemon that is augmented with technological advancement. So it would stand to reason that there would be multiples of it, unless it's a like Mewtwo situation. But what I don't understand is why technologically augmented Pokemon would be considered mythical, considering when you look at, you know, Porygon or...
Not to mention there are reports that say Genesect was an actual Pokemon built in a lab by a secret, you know, organization was it in Kanto that they had discovered this certain Pokemon, or was it Unova? It was in Unova, wasn't it? I guess my question, unless they burnt the documents and they got rid of the evidence, maybe we have some insider knowledge as well, but I do believe that Pokemon existed. I assume most of the public does. So would that not be considered a legendary Pokemon if everybody knows of its existence? But maybe that point is maybe not everybody believes that Pokemon was actually built in a lab and had it existed in our time now. Maybe because some documents and some information may have gotten lost within some organizations' crumbles, right? So maybe the answer to that question is, yeah, it is a mythic because a lot of people out in the world may not believe it even existed to begin with. Because as far as I'm aware of, you can't just go outside our studio into the city and go, oh, look, there's a Genesect, because I think you might get some people going, huh? You know, kind of look at you weird and may not even know what it is. Whereas if you went outside in our studio and you asked anybody on the street saying, hey, did you see, give me a good legendary Pokemon example. Give me a good legend. Like Mewtwo. We know Mewtwo exists. We've seen the damage and the harm it has caused. That is something you can go, oh, did you see Mewtwo in the air? And everybody would turn and go, what? Weird. But they know it exists and they've heard of its legends. Whereas if you did that with Genesect or if you did that with Darkrai, you might get a few, yeah, right, or a few, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I think that's kind of an interesting topic.
A perfect example, let me give you the Unovan Pokedex entry for Genesect. Over 3 million years ago, it was feared as the strongest of hunters. It has been modified by Team Plasma. The other portion of it is this ancient bug Pokemon was altered by Team Plasma. They upgraded the cannon on its back.
So let me ask you, you do believe in mythical Pokemon then? Do you believe in most of them? Or are there any that you just have a kind of like a, well, we don't know for sure kind of feel on them?
So the one that I kind of have an iffy connection with is Marshadow.
Marshadow, okay.
I would love to have a Marshadow. Love to get one if they exist.
Explain to Marshadow. So it's a mythical Pokemon. What region is it based out of?
I believe it's based from Alola.
Well, Alola is an interesting place for interesting Pokemon. I think, so you have a Marshadow, not related to Ultra Beast, correct?
No. I mean, we know Ultra Beasts are real.
Just so y'all know, I mean, we've been protected from Ultra Beasts in the past when it comes to New Contramerc City, and even before some natural disasters that had happened in our previous home. We do know of their existence. We know how terrible they can be. So yeah, that to me is definitely a legend of some sort. Where they classify those as sub-legendary Pokemon and not mythicals, right? Because we do know their existence.
So at one point they were considered sub-legendary, but they have now changed their category to just be an Ultra Beast.
So Ultra Beasts now have their own set of criteria to meet to become an Ultra
Yes.
Beast. Not a legend, not a sub-legend, but just an Ultra Beast. Did they do the same thing with Paradox Pokemon as well?
They did. Technically, Miraidon and Koraidon fall under both Paradox and the Legendary rule. And
Okay.
even technically, Cosmog, Solgaleo, Lunala, and Necrozma, in some spheres of research, are could be as well.
Interesting.
It's very, very interesting. There's a lot of crossover between mythicals and legendaries.
Well, yeah, and I think that's where the gray area lies, is that we get all of our information, especially our Pokédexes, you know, they are built and the data is usually held within the laboratory of every city of your native region, right? But those laboratories have to get the information from somewhere, and that usually comes from, of course, the main headquarters of Game Freak that we know of. And so they're a very mysterious corporation, by the way. We don't know a ton about them. We just hear bits and pieces when we can. So I think if I had to boil it down to mythicals and legendaries, in my opinion, legendary Pokemon are Pokemons built on legends and that we know them to be true. Mythical Pokemon are built on the mystique and the mythos of a Pokemon's existence, whether or not they exist in our world, or are they just myths created by stories of a long time ago for teaching purposes to our children when they grow older, of helpful stories. I mean, these are very, very interesting Pokemon, and I can't wait to learn more about them. I think that's a great segue to lead us into our very own professor with his first ever brand new segment into our studio,
Professor Gray.
What's good, trainers? I'm Professor Gray, and I want to personally welcome you to New Contramerc City. Here in New Contramerc, we live in harmony alongside each other and also these mysterious creatures we call Pokemon, building our bonds each day through battles and friendly competition, through games, sports, music, or even research being my field. Here in the lab, I work alongside a brilliant team to study Pokemon, discover mysteries, and better understand these strange creatures and the world we both live in. Every week, we take a Pokemon to turn to the topic of focus and learn all there is to learn through our battle labs, shiny studies, and general history. We also have field trips planned to explore even more Poke-Earth and rediscover all there is about other regions, their Pokemon, and other mysterious phenomena that may occur in those regions. Not only that, but my team of researchers are working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries occurring in our own region, Thephoria, The jungles and deserts that surround our vibrant city hold the clues to our region's past, and we work to bring those answers to the forefront. So come join us. I'll be waiting at the lab where we can discuss a starter you can take on your journey through the lush and expansive Thephoria region, where adventure, friendship, and fresh experiences awaits you. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Be sure to check out our City Center contest being hosted all over New Contramerc, where you can not only earn a prize, but a Ghouligan showcase spot in the next radio show. Also, check out our Galar vacation, where we are studying Galar culture and having a blast doing so. So if that's something that interests you, be sure you stop by the city. We'll be happy to have you be a part of our ever-expanding family.
And welcome back, Ghouligans. Professor Gray, thank you for today's segment. I hope every one of you stayed and listened to his research. Great stuff. And we're going to have more of that every show, every episode. So please make sure, again, smash that like notification, hit the subscribe button. We'll be your every-week radio show. Okay, we're back. Unseelie, we got
What's
some stuff
up?
to talk about. We're gonna get a little bit intimate here. You ready? We're gonna get very close together. Listen, I want to talk to everybody about clickbait titles and how we feel about them. As your new therapist of YouTube social media, clickbaiting is not what we like to see or like to do. Clickbaiting is a form of getting people involved and to click on your video, to watch a video, and then all of a sudden, whatever they're watching is not the title you clicked on, and you've realized you've been clickbaited. Now, that's not to be confused.
There's an
with
actual definition.
catfishing.
Is
there a definition?
The defining characteristics of clickbait is misrepresentation in the enticement presented to the user to manipulate them to click onto a link or video. It is something designed to make readers want to click a hyperlink, especially when the link leads to content of dubious value or interest. What that essentially means is if we posted our video and said, "Did Nintendo just buy TikTok?" Well, let's face it, people are going to click on that. I would click on that.
I would also click on that.
Like, I hate to say it, but I would. Because, well, I mean, that's, well, one, that's just wild, but two, it's just wild enough that I might believe it.
Exactly. I think clickbaiting is a form of trying to push your way into an algorithm, trying to force your way into the YouTube space as quickly as you can. And how do people do that? By clickbaiting. Do I think it's wrong? I don't like it. I think it's obviously it's misleading. It is dubious. That's why we have the crazy Polygon Z Pokemon, right? It's crazy because you loaded up the dubious CD that probably had clickbait on it, and all of a sudden you have this crazy floating duck virtually going wild. And that's clickbaiting, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you get. So if you want a Polygon Z, that's crazy. Go ahead, load up a clickbaity CD and you got it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about that, I probably need one. Besides the point, I think this is a very good topic to talk about. No one's going to talk about this in the YouTube space, and this is why we want to bring it up. We want to be this is a radio show where we can talk freely with you guys. Everybody in the radio waves, whether you're with us in our Discord channel, the city itself, whether you're just out there, a casual listener, just scrolling through and you're hitting on segment 3 and you're saying, clickbait titles, what are they talking about? Well, what I'm talking about is clickbait titles just to get you to fall for the clicks and the views. We don't want to do that. We also recognize that it is a problem in the YouTube space that's going to continue to happen. You're going to continue to fall for them, and it's a marketing trick. Every time you go into a city, what's the first thing you see on the skyline, Unseelie, if you're driving? And this is a true story.
I usually see billboards.
Yeah, true story
Billboards
about that.
everywhere.
We were driving one time. We're going to the city, We're just about 5 minutes, but we can see these big giant billboards as we come in. And Unseely's driving. I'm in the passenger side. I dropped my phone in the floorboard. I had to lean down to pick it up. I go to lean up forward back in my seat, and Unseely goes, "Hey mate, what's that?" I'll look up at this giant billboard and it says brake check. The next thing I know, I'm crashing through like a madman through the dashboard, almost into the other highway, all because of a giant clickbaity billboard. I'm probably salty about it, to be honest, and that's probably where I get my hatred from it.
It was funny. It was funny for me.
Yeah, it's funny for everybody else but me that had the gash from my head. I had to go to the Pokemon Center to fix that up.
But I think the reason this all came about is there's a lot of talk right now, at least, mainly in like other social platforms. Is clickbait good? And it kind of touches upon like our social media that we did last episode. But I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot going on right now in the Pokemon sphere of things. And the best way to retain or get new listeners or new followings is to post clickbaity titles. Like, perfect example, this is what we're going to get for Legends ZA. It's not a question. It's not a like, oh, this is what we think. It is a misleading statement saying this is what we will be getting. Now you're going to click on that title. I mean, myself, mate, would click on that title for the simple fact of, well, they must know something we don't. Turns out 9 times out of 10, they don't. They are theorizing. They are, like me and Make do, sitting, talking, and coming up with ideas that they think could potentially happen.
There's not a problem with that. If you want to sit and theorize, if you want to sit and just kind of play with an idea, or it is fun to think of different fun ideas with Pokemon and what it could be. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, and what Unseely is saying as well, it's the fact that you clicked on a video expecting a certain result. But when you come to realize that result is not what you wanted out of the title of the video, well, by definition, just like me getting my head smashed in, you've been clickbaited.
Well, and like I said, if we had named this video, "Did Nintendo buy TikTok?" You know they didn't. I know they didn't. The person clicking on it probably realizes that they didn't. What the hell are these idiots talking about? Let's face it, that's probably why I would click on it, because I'd be like, okay, what are these fools talking about? You could actually think that Nintendo bought TikTok. I mean, there's a lot of confusion around TikTok right now. There's a lot of things going on in that sphere, in that influence, where who knows, maybe TikTok did buy it. Or you're clicking on it going, I know this is wrong, but I want to see where they go from here.
With that point too, Unseely, would you say this has been more of a reoccurring clickbait almost a year because of the dry news of not having anything from Game Freak headquarters, nothing from ZA? Is this where this is stemming from?
I think so. I really do. I think that, well, at least my biggest thought process is that we got an announcement in February of last year. And for a year, we haven't really gotten anything. I mean, we got TCG Pocket, by the way, new set coming out next week, or well, by the time this comes out in a couple of days. Check it out. But we haven't had any news. We haven't had anything that's grabbed our attention. And like you said, theorizing, asking yourself what is coming down the pipeline or what could be is awesome. I am almost positive in the next, 3, 4, 5 months, we will have an episode or a series of episodes where we are, we pull in, Professor Gray. We pull in, Dan to talk about these different things that we want to see in a Pokemon game. But our title isn't going to be, we know what's coming in ZA. It's going to be we had a chat about ZA, this is what we think.
Yeah. every title that you see on the YouTube space or in social media is there to grab your eyes. It's there to grab your attention. It's a marketing scheme, and it makes sense because you want people to come and say, hey, look at us. We have good content. We have good videos. We want you to come check us out. And most people, I think, understand like what clickbait is. They just get upset or irritated with the fact, well, why is everybody doing it? The reason why everybody's doing it is because they want your attention. They want to bring you in, whether you like it or not. They're forcing your hand in a sense.
And I think the biggest concern is everybody does it, but at the same token, everybody hates it. So it's one of those, well, if you don't do it, you're not going to be at the same level as the people that are doing it.
Do you think there are levels to clickbait titles? Like, would you say there are some clickbait titles that are more lenient and other clickbait titles that are more, heavy on the dubious side of things? Do you think there's a level scale for that instead of just being it is or it isn't?
I think with anything like that, there is a gray area, because you can have a clickbait title that is clickbait just because of the topic of discussion, but it's not necessarily dubious. It's not necessarily hurtful or misleading. Is it clickbait? Yes. So I signed up to be able to play the Nintendo Switch in New York for April 2nd weekend. If I get chosen, I want to go down, but I want to go and I want to play it. You're damn straight. Our next video will probably be, we got to play the Nintendo Switch too. Are we misleading? No. Are we lying? No. What we're advertising is what we are delivering. At that point, I would have gotten to play the Switch too.
Yeah, there's nothing dubious about that. And I think that's like, it all goes back to, if you provide the consumer with the content or the information they're looking for at the start of the click of the video, then you're providing a solid, I think, YouTube channel, a valid radio show. Obviously, people can hear us all across the airwaves, but they may not always like what we have to say, and that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, if you give the people what they're looking for when they go and click on that specific video, and we meet that criteria, then people are going to be A, more happy, B, they're going to respect you a little bit better, and you're probably not going to have a lot of issues going forward. But if you start to kind of branch off and you really hit the clickbaiting over the head with catchy titles that don't actually present what you are, that's when problems start to arise, right?
Well, yeah, like if I do get to play the Nintendo Switch too early, if we put the video as, I got a Nintendo Switch 2 early, or it's something that connotates that I got to do something that, other people didn't get to do, then that would be a dubious form of clickbait. Is it technically off topic? No. Is it technically lying? No, because I technically, I did get to hold or do whatever with a Nintendo, with a Switch 2 early. The problem is that if it's misleading, that's where your issues come in, because taking a group, or you're taking an audience, and you are promising something that you can't deliver.
Correct. Do you think there is a good answer or a good way of battling back against clickbaiting in the YouTube space? We know it exists. It's not going to go anywhere. I think one healthy way is that we can hold each other accountable. Now, that's not going to happen with just, let's say, for example, us. Like, we can't hold anybody in our YouTube space accountable. Ultimately, they're going to do what they're going to do, and that's fine. And most of them are really, really good at what they do, and they're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with the content they give out, or even the titles per se. We just know it can be an issue, a way to solve a problem if it becomes big enough. And I think it can. I think here recently in the past year, it has gotten a little bit out of hand with the clickbait titles, enough to be like, okay, let's see where we're at as a space. Let's start to tone it down a little bit with the clickbaiting titles. That will happen naturally once we get more news with Game Freak, once we get more news with Pokemon ZA. You're going to start to see a little bit better resulting videos. Everybody's going to be in a race. Everybody's going to want to get that information out and be the first one, because that's where they're going to draw the people in. And that's fine, but I think you're going to see a healthier video, a healthier title, a healthier community, and that's important to us.
Well, I also think, like, with the reaction that alone we got on our server by putting why is clickbait bad as a option for us to talk about. So a lot of people voted for that topic, but the other thing that I noticed is there was a lot of people talking about that topic once I posted the poll last night. And it was a lot of what we're saying now, clickbait's bad, we don't like clickbait, it's everywhere, why is it everywhere? I think that sentiment is in a lot of people on the YouTube space, but I also think a lot of it comes from a lot of the people that are using clickbait are a lot of the people that are successful. So if it works, why wouldn't you want to use it? And I think that's where we kind of need to come through and understand where the best way to stop clickbait is to not click on it. And I'm not saying like don't support, your favorite, content creators or anything like that. Because some clickbait titles, yes, they might be classified as clickbait, but they're not being disingenuous. They're not being misleading. It's just the nature of YouTube. Something can be clickbait, but also not be a negative form of clickbait. It just so happens that it's a hot button topic that people are going to click on. But I think if you can look at something and actually see like, hey, I know what that is, and if it upsets you, just don't click on it. Don't watch it. It's not a very simple concept, but it's just a very, self-diagnosing issue where if it upsets you and it's upsetting you, just don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be a mate, and don't hit your head on the dashboard of the car when you go into the city. Just watch yourselves out there, Gooligans. Watch yourself out there in the city.
I gave you my Vulpix to cuddle when I did it. It helped your head. It cooled it off. You only had a little bit of blood.
After about an hour, I was good. So don't be a me. Don't click on everything. Don't watch everything you see. Don't look up at the billboards when they're trying to flash you to go into their establishment, right?
When we leave here, what we'll do is we'll go down to the basement. I'll show you my Darkrai. You'll forget all about the brake check.
Last thing I'll make a point on this. Listen, y'all sound off below in the comments. We want to know your thoughts on clickbaiting. What does it mean to you? And how do you feel about it in today's, Pokemon, video game, and music space? Or are we just, me and Unsilly, just kind of talking to hear our heads roll and everything's all good to go? But please let us know down below in the comments your thoughts. All right, it's time to hit our last commercial break for the evening, and we will see you right back here on 99.9 Gimmighoul Radio.
99.9 Gimmighoul Radio, hottest FM radio in New Contramerc City.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Alrighty guys, this is your favorite producer Sampy here, and today I am here to inform you that we do have a new TCG Pocket set releasing tomorrow, or 1 a.m. at midnight tonight. This will include Dialga and Palkia, the boosters. It is centered around the Sinnoh region Pokemon, and it will be entitled Space Time Smackdown. These booster packs will include Pokemon such as Dialga, Palkia themselves in EX form, Pachirisu in EX form, Lucario in full art, as well as the Sinnoh starters. That includes Piplup, Turtwig, and Chimchar. Now that's enough out of me. Let me hand you guys over to your favorite GGR music producer, Turn to Ash.
Participate in events. Gimmighoul Radio hosts various gaming events, tournaments, gaming nights, and theme discussions. These events foster camaraderie and provide a great way to meet new friends. Stream and share. Members can share their gaming experience through live streams or recorded gameplay. This not only helps others see the game in action, but also builds a sense of community as members cheer each other on. Connect with creators. The server sometimes features guest appearances from game developers, artists, and influencers, providing a unique opportunity to ask questions and learn more about the gaming industry. Stay updated. With the fast-paced nature of gaming news, the Gimmighoul Radio community keeps members informed about upcoming releases, patches, and updates. You'll never miss out on the latest happenings in the gaming world. As the world of gaming continues to evolve, there's no better time to dive into new experiences and connect with fellow enthusiasts, whether you're exploring the stars in Starfield, unraveling the mysteries of Hogwarts, or battling and catching Pokémon in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. Having a supportive community like Gimmighoul Radio can enrich your gaming journey. Join our Discord server today.
Welcome back. That was an awesome commercial. Thank you. That was perfect timing. So right now we're going to talk about the city and the GGR Gimmighoul Radio CC Media Group news. We actually have a couple things on our docket. The first thing I am going to talk about is the riddle from last week. The person who got it, I believe, was a person from the Pondcast. We like to call Draco. I want to say he's Draco in pretty much everywhere that you will find him. So congrats, it was Corviknight. I will talk to the professor and get you that shiny Corviknight. Now, the riddle for this week, again, the riddle rules. You must be the first person to comment within the YouTube comments. You must not be a GGR or a CC Media Group staff member. Hayes, that includes the researchers. And just have fun with it. And definitely, you also have to be in the city. We don't ship outside. Sorry. So, the riddle this week. I bear many different faces, each striking fear into my opponents, freezing them in my glare. Just hit us with who that Pokemon is, and we'll have the professor get you a shiny version of it.
Yeah, sound off. It's a great riddle this week. Thank you, Jart, for providing that for us. Complimentary of our very own CC Media Group. Again, I want to give a shout out. We wouldn't be here where we are without our CC Media Group. So thank you guys. And thank you, Ghouligans and non-Ghouligans, for listening to our show today. As we start to wrap up, we're going to go around the city. We're going to talk about what's going on Sealy. What kind of contests and activities do we have?
So we have the actual city contests that are still running currently. I believe it's all art-based. So we have a game picture or game art contest where, you go into your favorite video game, you take some photos within there and send it into the Giga Drain gaming art section. We also have in the Piplup Pet Shop, we have the pet picture contest, which we have had a ton of the Cozy Pet contest submissions. I'm actually looking at them right now and getting very distracted. And in the Pidgeot Photoshop, we want to see your best city picture. It doesn't have to be of New Contramerc City. It can be any city where you reside or visiting. And again, we have a bunch of really nice pictures there too.
I mean, just a ton of awesome submissions and admissions for this city center contest. We appreciate everybody who has submitted already, like a contest, hopefully winner, because not only will it be voted on for that specific contest winner, but you will also receive a prize from Gimmighoul Radio CC Media staff, and will also be provided a free segment showcase on our show the very next week. So we're hoping to have some really good late admissions in to get some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And then we do have one more. It's in the Smeargle Smudges. That's for a draw your own Pokemon, really. We should have a couple. I'm actually going to submit, I think, 1 or 2 in there. So
Perfect.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, art of Pokemon, art of Fakemon. We love them and we accept them all.
But besides that, we also have the Legends League starting February 1st. That's going to be a really fun tournament. It is, as we're just talking about Legends and Mythicals, the only Pokemon that are allowed in that tournament are Legendaries, Paradoxes, Sub-Legendaries, Mythicals, and, well, if I don't think we can have Ultra Beasts because they're not in Scarlet and Violet, but if they were, they would be included in that too. So it is going to be a very, I guess, power-heavy Pokemon battles,
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, Legends, baby. League of Legends, be there. Unsealy, where can they find our signups for that?
So the Legends League, they can find the signups in the... They have already made a channel ready for it.
Yeah, perfect. So just make sure I'll leave a link in the description below for our Discord server, which is our city. In there, you'll find the City Center contests as well as the League of Legends tournament, baby. It's going to be awesome. What else do we have going on Sealy?
We actually just launched our own Minecraft Bedrock server. It is playable from PC, mobile, any of the consoles that Minecraft is on, but it is open 24 hours and it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a person in there right now, actually a GGR staff member, Giant. He's currently, I don't know if he's currently building it, but he said he's going to build the radio tower within Minecraft.
Yeah, just another fun community-based server that we wanted to build. Listen, GGR Radio, New Contramerc City, it's not just for all Pokemon fans, it's for all fans of video games, music, any type of media that you love to consume. You know, we're here for you. We have servers that we're currently building for a lot of other awesome games that we all want to play and get together on and just have fun gaming nights, music nights. It's gonna be awesome, guys. We hope you join us.
I know Jake from the Pokemon department. He's working on a Pokemon Pocket tournament, I believe. Grim and I have been shooting back and forth about a Pal World server as well. So
Awesome. Yeah, more the merrier.
there's a lot coming down the pipeline as we get, secured and set up in the city. I think there's a lot to be had with the amount of people that we have, and we have polls going daily. We'll have the Thursday throwdowns where we'll be playing, fighting games, Tekken, probably some Street Fighter, Smash Brothers, Pokken tournament. We also have set sale Saturdays. I don't know if you've gotten to get in on that yet, but that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard of great things. Our very own CC Media staff member, and some of you may recognize him as Suba, one of our art designers, is one hell of a Sea of Thieves player. The dude's fun. Come join us. And
I think his name, I think Suba's name was changed to Captain Suba in the chats. It's a lot of fun. It is just, I gotta see if I can get him to take his little Zygarde cell and put a little pirate captain's hat on it.
Yeah, for sure. But we have, like Unsealy said, daily activities.
Our Galar vacation, we just got 2 new members for it. So I think we're up to like 14 or 15 of the 18 types being used.
Yeah, vacation is a rolling. I know for me and Unsealy, it's been more of a work vacation. We've been flying in and out, but it's been fun. I've been having a great time. Unsealy, I just got past Nessa. I am working up, baby. Me and my team, we're doing some good stuff.
I'm hoping so. But I think that's all we really have as far as events. By the time this comes out, this past Sunday, the Pokemon Lab, Professor Gray's Pokemon Lab, is officially open.
Yeah, come on out. I think, and listen, y'all heard Professor Gray speak today. Great things are coming within the city. Don't forget to pick up your free shiny starter Pokemon from Professor Gray. When you enter the Discord channel, we will present you with a free shiny courtesy of Professor Gray and his researchers. So yeah, check it out. Come on over.
We have like I said, we have a lot coming down the line, and
I think we're late for our Minecraft server appointment. We have some business to do.
We are. Yeah, Dan's asking where we are. I feel like he's a little angry.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Listen, we stole the keys this time. He couldn't get through the studio door. He's probably pissed about that. Anyway, we do have a Minecraft server we got to get to. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be there, make sure to join us down below as well. We look forward to seeing you, talking with you, and hopefully you enjoyed our radio show tonight here in live from New Contramerc City in the region of Thephoria, right below Unova, across the sea from Kalos. So everyone,
make sure you get in so you can vote on what our next topic will be.
that's right, polls every day. All right, y'all, everyone have a good night. So Unsealed, we got to get to the Minecraft server.
You too.
Let's go. We got to get over there. See y'all. Peace out. Bye.